I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on The Right Way, a video podcast where I speak to the world's most compelling authors. I'm speaking with author Susie Vivian about her powerful work of science fiction. It is called The Blue Orb. And if you love Harry Potter, if you love Lord of the Rings, if you love that genre, or if you just love a good novel, this is the book for you. Susie, thanks so much for joining us here today on The Right Way.
Well, thank you, Logan. Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. I love your book. I want to play Zyrene in it. I think that's how you say it.
Oh,
He's the
yeah. Yeah,
very
you got it.
tall, very skinny. I could use some prosthetics, like maybe a beard and a bigger nose and some white hair. I
Yeah.
won't go to my colorist for 4 months and I'll have some white hair. And I think I could play him. What do you
Yeah,
think?
you'd be great.
Okay, good. The writers are more powerful in Hollywood than the directors. So the fact that you say
Oh,
I'd be a good Zyrene, that'd be great.
all
So
right.
starts out with Zyrene, and he decides he's at the end of his life and he wants to
Mhm.
transfer his powers into this blue orb. Tell me a little bit about the story.
Well, he has an acolyte that finds a stone and he molds it himself so it'll be perfect. And when he starts putting his power into this orb, it's like it takes over and starts taking more than what he wanted to give it, and it actually ended up draining him. So of course then his acolyte decided that he needed to have it worse than Zareen. So he took it from him, and Zareen dies. And um the power of it, the power of this orb is like, the wizard says a spell into it, and then the orb sends this blue power out for miles, and the the spell is magnified a whole bunch, many times. And so he wanted to have the cows give a little more milk, and the chickens to lay more eggs and that kind of thing. Well, it turned out that not only was that happening, but a lot of the women in town ended up pregnant. So
Much more
way
powerful than we expected.
yeah, way more than he was anticipating. And then he started feeling weak and he didn't know what to do about it. So that's how he ended up dying. So,
It's
oh, heck,
it's an
hang on.
amazing story. Tell me a little bit about how you came up with it. Are you a fan of this type of literature? How did you dream up this really wonderful and original story?
Well, I have always loved fantasy. I have read Lord of the Rings like 3 or 4 times, and The Hobbit the same. And George R. Martin, I love his books. His and I've always loved it. I love the whole thing and monsters and
Mhm.
wizards. So I thought it would just be fun to write one. I mean, I didn't. I just wanted to do it. Sometimes you want to do something really bad, and so finally, you take this step and leap into it, and it becomes something. It was actually fun.
Yeah.
I challenged myself and I had a good time writing it. So not only, I just felt like if I could write a book that people would just have fun reading, like I enjoy fantasy.
Hmm.
If somebody could enjoy my little book, that would be way cool. you know so that's kind of why I wrote it, and I just wanted to create something, so I just jumped in, and
The
there
process
it
the
is.
process of writing itself is very enjoyable. Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Well, it's it almost wrote itself. I just sit down and think about things and how I wanted it to go, and then I just start writing. I'd end up with 10 pages. It was fun that way. I just every day I committed myself to writing something on that book, and so I did. And of course, then you write the draft.
Right.
And then I took years editing it here and there.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I've had half books written for a very, very long time, and then I'll go back and read it, and I'll be like, "Wow, this is really good. Why did I stop writing it?" But writing at times is hard work. But what I
Uh-huh.
like best about it, maybe have the same experience, is that you're in that space when you're writing it. You're
Yeah.
living with Zyrene and his acolyte and with Jasmine and Donovan when you're writing it. And the fact that you have the power to create their stories and craft their lives, I think is incredible.
It's it's kind of like a power, you create this person or this creature or whatever it is, and the wizards and those evil nasty witches and all this stuff. It's just fun to decide, okay, what kind of person are are they? It's just, that is fun because you are creating a world of your own that you want people to
Absolutely.
enjoy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Who did you first show the book to? Did you show it to anyone before you were done, or did you show it only once it was complete? For me, it's my sister. My sister is the only one who will read what I write. I write a lot, and
Uh-huh.
everyone else is like, yeah, I'll get around to it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But my sister consistently reads my stuff. Who reads your stuff? Have you shared it with anyone other than the
um
fact that it's published now?
yeah, I shared it with friends first, and they liked it, and it was hard. I gave it to my kids. I'm hoping my sons would read it, and I think they did. They kind of liked it. I don't know, kids. I but
Exactly.
how it was. I just wanted reactions
Sure.
to, of course I did. And so I don't have like one particular person. I need to get somebody that will commit to reading my book.
I'm going to have to give you my sister's email. Since she reads
Do
my stuff, maybe she'll read your stuff.
maybe she will. That would be cool. And then she can give me
Exactly.
the
Exactly. Exactly.
real edit. Oh, not edit, but evaluation of
Exactly.
it.
But that's part of it though, is finding the right audience. I mean, and that's what's so great about this digital age is that you can find people who are hungry for great fantasy literature. And I don't know. I think people who love Renaissance fairs and medieval times and things like that would love this book as well. Are you a fan of that type of stuff also?
Yeah, I am. I love that stuff. I volunteered for FanX in Salt Lake a few times, and it is so fun to be around people who like to dress up in costumes and be part of something. It's just fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about the love story you crafted of Jasmine and Donovan. I hear they might be surfacing in a sequel to your wonderful book, The Blue Orb.
Yeah, in fact, they're the central part of the second book. And I just, I felt like Jasmine needed something more than just being the heroine. She's got to find, I need her to find somebody. And so there's Donovan that Zarkon the wizard wanted to have his help because he has special magic powers and that. And so then it wasn't that hard to figure out, well, hey, there could be a little romance going on here.
Exactly.
And so that, to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting a romance, but it
Mm.
just kind of fit in with what was going on, and added another dimension to the story. So that was fun too, was to, okay, how's this romance going? It's kind
Right.
of fun. So
Well, it's sort of like what we said is that when you're creating these characters, you're giving them life, but then they kind of have a life of their own and a pattern that people would follow. And so there's natural progressions there. And I guess that was the natural progression for Jasmine.
Yeah, it was. And it's true what you say. The characters kind of, it's almost like they take over and decide how this story is going to go. And that's another fun thing. I had no idea. I never wrote a book before. I've written
Right.
things,
Right.
but so that was fun.
Yeah.
I liked that part.
Yeah. And also, your character is different than you are.
Mhm.
So, what you might do in a situation is different from what the character would do. And that's how the character almost becomes autonomous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jasmine ended up being much tougher than I anticipated. Like when she got to the castle and dispatched that soldier, it was like, wow,
Yeah.
she's really strong and
Exactly. Exactly.
takes care of herself. And I love that. And I made her little instead of this big, strong Shira woman. I wanted
Mhm.
her to be a different kind of heroine. So, people would think, oh, she's just this little pipsqueak. I can take care of her. And then she shows them what's what.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's kind of like a metaphor for people in general. If you develop your skills and into what you want to do, you can do a lot more than you think,
Absolutely.
regardless of who you are. So
Well, I think
anyway,
that concept of power is evident in your book. When Zyrene gives the orb power, it's much greater power than he ever envisioned. Were you trying to say something there about the power within us, that it's greater than we'd ever conceive, or something like that?
yeah, that yeah, you can give power and end up with more
Right.
and become bigger. And I don't know. I like the whole self assurance and keep maintaining your power in life. And so if you can do things that make you more powerful in a good way, an assertive way, not, you know, demanding or anything. But
Mm.
yeah, of course the orb just took over, but
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
was that went a little too far, but
Right. There's
it
also
was
themes of betrayal in it as well. He's betrayed by his acolyte who promises to take care of it and has selfish motives right from the start. And other people have selfish motives as well. I mean, I think when you're dealing with such power, whether it's power or money or whatever it is, people want what you got, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with who you trust. And that's trouble. You can trust somebody and later find out they weren't who you thought they were. And that's really sad.
Mm,
It's when you find somebody that you can trust that really is who you think they are and they have your back, no matter what. It's like there's this level of loyalty and trust that is hard to find.
yeah.
It really is. So yeah, I struggle with that sometimes. Life.
Absolutely. J.K. Rowling infamously wrote Harry Potter while sitting in a cafe on I think it was like a placemat or something, or napkins or whatever it is. Tell me a little bit about your writing style, where you started writing this. Did you do it on your laptop or did you do it longhand? How did you like to write?
I really like doing it on my computer. Now
Mhm.
I write on my laptop, but it's easier to erase and move paragraphs around and stuff like that. Some
Yeah.
of it I did, I saw I wasn't by my computer, and so I would write what I seek, and so I'd write a portion of it, and I did that with the that black guy, the black. Anyway, now I can't remember his name. Oh my gosh, my own character. Anyway, he was an assassin, and
Right.
so I just started writing his on a piece of paper. So there were ways that I like to write it down because I wasn't home or anything. But
Yeah,
you get an idea and you think, well, I better write that. So
exactly.
I like to do that too.
Yeah.
So,
What I'll often do is I'll send an email to myself. Like I'll be driving or something and I've got a great idea and I don't want to forget it. It's, an aspect of a work that I'm writing. And so I'll just quickly write an email to myself so I remember that, they were at the fair, it was after sundown, and that's when the clown takes out the big knife or whatever it is.
ooh, cool.
It
That
sounds like a
sounds
good one.
good.
Exactly.
I do like Stephen King too.
Exactly, exactly.
So,
Who are your favorite writers?
well, besides J.R. George R. Martin, and well, I do like the Harry Potter. I read all the Harry Potter books too, and Tolkien as well. I like Steve Martin. Steve Martin. Hello.
Steve Martin's a funny guy. So, and
He's
I
so
think he's
funny.
written some as well. Yeah.
And I watched a show. It's called Only Murders in This Building, something like
Right.
that, and it's so funny. Anyway, Stephen King and Dean Koontz. I like his
Mm.
stuff too. He writes some fantasy that's really good. So those are my favorites.
Right. Well, you seem to have a style similar to Dean Koontz, where it's like very readable, very page turnable. I mean,
Um,
I like that about it. I like to think when I'm writing, or when I'm reading rather, but I don't want to be, I don't know. I like something that flows. I guess that's what I'm saying. And your book really flowed. It was like absolutely a
uh,
page turner, which was, I think, is a good compliment.
that's the best. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
absolutely, absolutely.
Really,
So
really appreciate
tell me a little bit about you. You're living in Utah, or have you been in Utah your whole life? Tell me a little bit about your journey.
it. Yeah, I've lived in Utah from I live in Layton now, which is northern Utah, all the way down to St. George. I just moved from St. George. I lived there about 3 years. I just needed to live there. There's this place,
Yeah.
and I loved it. But I was too far away from my kids. I have 2 sons and 7 grandkids, and their sweet wives, and so I decided I need to be closer. So here I am in Layton, but it, I lived in Provo because I married a man that lived there, and I so I liked Provo. I lived there for, gosh, I guess it was about 20 years.
Mhm.
And then it's just been a journey. You know how it is. It just moved to
Yeah,
St. George, try that,
absolutely.
move here, try it out.
Exactly, exactly.
Maybe Costa Rica would be good. Way to
Oh, it
see
seems like a
where
lot
going
of people
down
are
it.
retiring down there. I guess it's warmer and nicer beaches than around here. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
actually studied public health and got a master's degree, correct?
Yes, I
Is
did.
that still your career? Are you still in public health?
Um, no, now I just work part time. I'm retired, and so I just work a couple of days a week. And it's funny, I work at a local Best Western as the breakfast lady, so
Mhm.
I cook breakfast there.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's
It's
fun.
it's a good part-time job, and it also gives you time to do your writing as well, correct?
Yeah, it does because I'm only there 2 days a week, so I can work on. I'm kind of writing the third book, so I'm trying to make it a trilogy. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm working on the third book, and
So you've got the first book already complete. It's out there. People can buy it right now on Amazon. They can download it or they can get the physical copy. And I say absolutely get a copy of The Blue Orb. Get the physical copy because it's nice to have paper in your hands. That's what I like.
uh,
Do you have a working title yet for your second installment in the series?
I do. It's called Monsters in the Mist. If you remember in Blue Orb, there is this monster that
Yeah.
attacks the people, and so after the Blue Orb story, then I decided that maybe they should take on the Mist monster,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
so that was the second book, and then the third book is kind of I haven't even I probably have 20 pages written on
Right,
it.
right.
I gotta
But the
get
sec
going.
the second book is complete right now, right?
It is,
Oh, that's
yes.
great. That's great. So that'll be good news for your fans out there that the second installment is out, and very good news that there's going to be a third installment. Okay.
Yeah,
I would
I'm
for
excited
sure.
about it. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Well, they go, but it was just a fun thing to write, I guess.
absolutely, absolutely. Have you done any book signings or anything like that? Have you met with any of the fans? Have you been to any of the events where this book would be really popular? Like I said, like maybe a sci-fi convention or a Renaissance fair or something like that?
I have not. I have wanted to do that since it came out, but it just hasn't. I just haven't figured out how to get
How to
there from
get there,
here.
right?
I don't know
Yeah,
why,
yeah.
but it is something I would love to go to be the author at a book signing.
Right, right.
Just
Well, I
meet a
think
bunch
it's
of
coming.
people who like my book.
I think once more people read it and tell their friends and the word gets out there, I think it would be an event that absolutely is going to happen for you. Tell me a little bit about if you were to make this into a movie. Have you thought about that? If this were to be a film, who you would cast, what the movie would be like? Tell me a little bit about your vision and dream for the film version of The Blue Orb.
Well, I have thought about it, especially a lot the past year or so, and it's such a I don't know if it's scary thought. Who would I have be in it and all that? That I almost don't dare go there. It's crazy. I don't know. You know, you think about who's the action actress? Oh, Jolie, Angelina Jolie being, but she's probably, well, I don't know, because Jasmine is really powerful.
Mm.
And Angelina always comes off as being this very powerful person in the movie she's in. And so somebody like her,
Yeah.
um, Donovan, I think there's a lot of people, a lot of men that would be really good. I really like the new guy in 007.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Daniel Craig.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. He's a very intense actor. I was going to
he
say either
is.
Daniel Craig or maybe Chris Pine, if you're familiar with his work. He's kind of like become the new action hero.
Oh, and who does he play? Who's
Chris
it?
Pine is in the Star Trek episodes. He plays Kirk.
Oh,
So,
oh, okay.
yeah, as a
Yeah,
sci-fi fan, you got to
yeah.
start watching
I know. I
the
gotta
newer
get
Star
caught
Trek.
up.
Yeah. Oh, Chris Pine is the new big star hero type. I mean, he's kind of like a young Clint Eastwood or a young
Oh,
Kevin Costner, something like that. Yeah,
oh, okay. That would be
absolutely.
perfect. That would
Yeah.
be
Okay. So we
perfect.
got Angelina Jolie and we've got Chris Pine,
Yeah.
and so I think that's a good choice. And you have me for Zyrene,
Yeah, here's
which is
Irene.
yeah, which is an excellent
Absolutely.
choice. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And I can see somebody very evil being my acolyte. I would like somebody
Yeah.
almost like comically small. I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
So if I
Oh,
had like an acolyte who was about 5'6", like maybe Danny DeVito or something,
oh,
think
that
that
would
would be
be
good. Yeah,
great.
yeah.
He could be really evil when he wants to be, right?
Oh yeah, he's very evil, Danny
The bad
DeVito. That's for
guy.
sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that would be awesome.
That would be great. That would be great. So tell me about your writing now. Do you usually write in the mornings? Or do you write in the evenings, or when do you write? When the feeling
Kind
moves
of,
you?
yeah, kind of when the spirit moves me, and it's usually like afternoons. I can just sit down at my computer and whack away on it, trying to
Right.
get it, and it's going. It's just I don't know. You get to a certain age, it's like, well, I have to really be in the mood.
I
It's
understand.
not good. It's not good. I'm not as dedicated as I need to be.
Right. Well, you've gotten two books written already, so that's a lot of
Yeah.
dedication right there. And sometimes it is hard getting the third together. And sometimes you just have to wait for the timing to be right, for that inspiration to strike you. I mean, I know when I write, some days I'll write, a couple of paragraphs, and other days I'll write, 20 or 30 pages. So it
Yeah.
depends on your mood that day and what's flowing in your head. They say a lot of authors like to write early in the morning when they're still in that very like dreamlike state. They find
Oh,
that
I
very
should try that
inspirational. Yeah. So you
because I
should
do
try
that.
that. Get up early, early, early. And while
Yeah.
you're still a little foggy, while your brain's still half in that dream state, right. I think it's a good
Ah,
recipe for a lot of people. They say that's why authors actually like alcohol, because it brings
really?
them that dream state.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
There's a
So I'm
reason.
not saying you should start drinking. I'm not saying that at all, but
No, I,
Hemingway and other writers have done it in the past. So it's a tried and true formula, but I don't advocate it on this show. I'd get
no,
in trouble.
no, no,
Absolutely.
I couldn't. I have a hard time with it anyway.
Yeah.
It gives me too much anxiety, which is weird. Alcohol should calm me down, but it.
No, no, no. As I've gotten older, I've totally eliminated it just because it wasn't good for me. Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about your favorite films, because I think there's a connection between what we watch and what we create. What type of movies do you like?
Oh, I love chick flicks, but
So now you got to
and
write a rom-com for your next book.
I do. I
Oh, you're writing
really.
fantasy, but you're enjoying, Melanie Griffith movies or something, or Julia Robert movies.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, and yeah. So of course, I loved Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
That, but I like the Minions and Gru.
Hmm. Your grandkids probably like the fact that you like the Minions too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can watch it.
exactly. Exactly.
But
What about Game of Thrones? Were you much of a Game
oh
of Thrones
yes.
fan?
You know what? I haven't watched it. I I read all the books. I
Oh, okay.
I have watched some of them. Yes, I have. I take that back. I have watched some of them, and I love the dwarf guy. He is so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
it, I do. I really do like it, and I love the dragons and um, the dragon lady,
Right.
Danny. So I have watched some, and I need to get back. I probably ought to buy this series or something.
Mm,
But it
right.
seems like it goes on, right?
It's a long series. The first season I found was terrific. I really enjoyed that. And then after that, I liked it less and less. It became pretty
Yeah,
convoluted and it seems like it was drawn out and stretched out. But the first
yeah,
season is perfect. And if you
yeah.
watch the first season, have you watched the first season?
I think that's what I've watched is the
Okay,
first.
yeah. When Ned
It's
Stark
so good.
dies, the whole thing is over for me. I mean, Sean
Yeah,
Bean's character was excellent. I really enjoyed that. But when I was
yeah,
reading your book, that's what I figured you'd like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, The
yeah.
Hobbit, Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
I
The
mean,
Hobbit.
because
Yeah,
Harry Potter also just creates such a different world. And that's what you did with your book. You just created a different world.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Harry Potter. I do. I like all the fantasy, but
Yep.
I like it's like I like reading them as much. Well, except for some of them. Some of them I love the movies, but
Right.
I love reading the stories.
Yeah.
It's like you just dive into this other world and
Right. Yeah.
escape all the other junk you're facing.
Exactly, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
that's what you did with your book. The name of the book is called The Blue Orb. Susie Vivian has created a completely different world centered around a stone that has immeasurable power and how it affects the lives of people who come into contact with this stone. And it is a book you don't want to miss. It's a movie that Hollywood wants to make. The good news is we've got two more books coming after this one. The sequel is already written, but not released yet. The third installment is coming up. Susie, thank you so much for joining us here today on The Right Way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I had a wonderful time speaking with you. And to our audience at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on The Right Way.